What's going on, guys? In today's video I will show you the best longbow leveling build in Throne and Liberty. So in this guide we will choose the best skills and specializations, and in what order should you upgrade them. Then we will go over the gear, so what specific items should you get, how to actually find them, and what is the best way to quickly level up your character, all the way to level 50 and much more. So if you want to use the most optimized bow leveling guide, which will get you to the endgame in just few hours, then here it is. So let's move over to our skills, and the best leveling setup is the longbow and the crossbow. So for defensive skill we get the rapturing parry, and then for the rest of our active skills we have the quick fire, mortal mark, merciless barrage, ensnaring arrow, zephyr's knock, nature's blessing, mother nature protest, selfless diffusion, blitz, decisive sniping, deadly marker, and strafing. And as you can see from the gameplay, I don't have all of these same skill icons on my bar. It is because the skill icons can change, depending on the specific skill specializations we use. So for our specific build, only one skill will change. So decisive sniping will turn into decisive bombardment, and then for passive skills we get the eagle vision, piercing strike, ambidexterity, devoted shield, sniper's sense, Roxy's arrowhead, rapid fire stance, and steady aim. And then the order that you should get these passives don't really matter. So at the start we just equip whatever you get, and then when you can you should be around level 20, start replacing them with our specific passives. So start with the eagle vision, piercing strike, and so on and so forth. Next we will quickly look into the skill priority, and we want to use the quality and rare marine ore to craft quality and rare passive skill and active skill growth books. I recommend to prioritize getting all of your skills to blue first before getting them to purple. And then for the rest of your skills, they're not as important, so just upgrade them as you progress through the game. So for active skills, the main priority is Mortal Mark, because it pairs perfectly as a starter for all of your combos, because it adds delayed damage based on your DPS done during its duration. This should be your first priority to improve your max DPS. And then follow that up by upgrading your quick fire, zephyr's knock, decisive sniping, and ensnaring arrow. Then the strafing skill is one of your earliest rare abilities, and one of your hardest hitting skills that only gets better with more crit rate, so we want to upgrade it next. And then lastly we focus on the selfless diffusion, because it is great if bosses or mobs root you, but this should not be our main priority. Next up we have our skill specialization, and once you hit level 30, you will acquire 40 skill specialization points to use, which can modify and upgrade your skills. And then every level past level 30, you will get 3 points until level 50, which in total can be 100 points that we can spend in here. You can also reset these points at any time, so don't worry about locking yourself in just one specific build. So for the blitz, we select the limit break and cooldown. Then on mortal mark get the chain effects. Then on ensnaring arrow get the cooldown resets and hit rate. Then for nature's blessing get the whirlpool. Then for strafing get the gale and consecutive use. Then for mother nature get the lightning arrow. Then for deadly marker we don't select anything. Next we have the merciless barrage and we get the gale. Then for zephyr's knock we get damage. Then for selfless diffusion, again we don't select anything. Then for quick fire, we get the minimum chain fire, damage and cooldown. And finally for decisive sniping, we select the collection time and decisive bombardment. And for the order, I recommend to spend these points fully in one skill before going to the next one. So first of all, we get everything as showed for the mortal mark, then the quick fire, then zephyr's knock, and so on and so forth. Next up we have the weapon mastery, and here is the setup for the longbow. So we start with the middle harmonious mind, and then go to the bottom and get everything from the ranged hit until the brutal shooter, and then once again we go back to the middle and get everything until the gale overhead. And then for the crossbow we want to start with the middle mystical region, then go to the bottom and unlock everything until the rapid fire, and then again go back to the middle and get everything until the calm aim. So now let's go over to the gear. Here is our overall leveling gear, which will get us all the way to 50, but depending on your RNG, you might get 1 or 2 blue pieces as well. All of this gear can be easily acquired through the main story, codex chapters, and by crafting it yourself. This is just the minimum most powerful gear, that you can use to speedrun through the leveling process. I've also selected traits, but it's pretty unrealistic to use them on your leveling gear. So while technically you can, I don't recommend to do it while you're not level 50. Traits in this game are pretty much the bonus stats on your gear, and at some point you get the option to choose them by having the same piece of gear or the exact version of that gear but with a different trait, which then you can add it to your existing gear. But again, if you get lucky, that's awesome, but if you can't get these traits, then that is fine as well. So next, we want to get the Slayer Longbow and upgrade it to level 6. You can find this item's crafting recipe from defeating NPCs like the skeleton archers and the giant zombies. Next we have the quick shooter crossbow, and as all the items need to be upgraded until level 6, so I will stop mentioning it, but just don't forget about it. And you can find this item's crafting recipe from level 6 uncommon weapon chest or by defeating the Flame Desert Wizard or the Flame Sentry. Next we have the Avenger's hat, and you can get it from the uncommon headgear chest or by defeating the Crackler or the Hermit Crab. Next we have the Shaman's cloak, and you can get it from level 6 uncommon cloak chest or by defeating the Lethal Venom Cobra. Then we have the Overwatcher's resistant armor, and you can get it from level 6 uncommon top selection chest or by defeating the Implancers. Next we have the Avenger's leather gloves, and you can get it by defeating the Infiltration Unit Archer. Next we have the Gladiator's Iron Gaiters, and you can get it by defeating NPCs such as the Kotori, Dark Skeleton Soldier, Stone Golem and the Shade Enforcer. Then we have the Sniper's leather boots that you can get by defeating the Ravenous Zombie, Mandrake or the Acid Ant. Next we have the Crude Wind necklace that you can get from chests like the Uncommon Accessory, Hyper Boosting and level 10 Growth Support chest, as well as by defeating the Benny and the Orc Fighters. Then we have the Crude Buffering bracelet that you can get from opening Uncommon Accessory chest or by defeating the Deadly Mandrake. Next up we have the Crude Wind band that you can get from Uncommon Accessory chest or by defeating the Iron Cheston. Then we have the Crude Flame band that you can get from Uncommon Accessory chest or by defeating the Spectral Shadowmancer, Grey Sentry or the Grey Wolves. And finally we have the Crude Vitality belt that you can get from Uncommon Accessory chest or by defeating the Benny or the Orc Fighter. Next we have our gear upgrades. And as this game doesn't have very typical gear progression, so by this I mean that you will have to upgrade pretty much anything you get. So you start at the grey gear, and then you will want to upgrade it to level 3. This is because when we equip green gear, we then want to transfer the grey gear into that green one. By transferring experience from our previous war's gear, we will save bunch of experience. And you want to do this for every single gear and weapon piece. As well as you will be doing the same thing with blue and purple items in the endgame. So the main concept you need to keep in mind is just to upgrade your current gear, no matter what it is, and then transfer it to your new one. So now let's move over to our stats. And as for leveling, all everyone cares about is damage and fast progression, so we want to focus mainly on dexterity and perception. Every level from 1 to 50 will give us a stat point. As well, we will get additional stats from the gear, but which we cannot change. So depending on our gear, we want to spend our points to reach milestones, like 30, 40, 50 and etc. Because each one of these milestones will give us extra stats, like more health, extra damage, reduced cooldowns and etc. So our first goal from about level 1 to 21 is to reach 30 dexterity. Then next we want to get to 30 perception, which should be from level 22 until about level 42. And then finally from level 42 plus, we want to spend our leftover points into the strength. And our final goal at level 50 is to reach 30 strength, about 30 dexterity and 30 perception. But again, the main focus is on dexterity and perception. And as I already said, for weapon masteries, skill specializations and everything else, you can easily reset these stats, so don't worry about locking yourself to only one setup. And now finally we have come to the gameplay part. So at the beginning of every fight, we want to be as stationary as we can to make use of our rapid fire stance passive, which will increase our damage when we stand still. But then besides that, we can start the rotation with the deadly marker to improve your critical rate before applying the mortal mark for delayed damage based on the damage you do next. Then we use the Mother Nature's protest to increase your offhand attack chance and boost the damage of our merciless barrage. Then afterwards we use the blitz to restart the cooldown on the deadly marker before using the Merciless Barrage again, and then finally we finish it off with the Ensnaring Arrow, Decisive Sniping and Zephyr's Knock, and then from here we just rinse and repeat. So in a summary, leveling in Throne of Liberty is very simple. Just follow the main storyline and start completing chapter 1 until chapter 10. After chapter 4 you should be able to craft a full set of green gear, which will take us all the way to the endgame, and that's about it. So if you enjoyed this video, click like, subscribe and comment, and if you're interested in more content then check out my channel, and I will see you in the next one, so take it easy, peace.